Hello everyone, and this is my new tutorial on how to make this kind of growl bass. I don't quite know how I ended up on this, but I think it sounds pretty cool, and this is what it sounds like. So yeah, it's quite dirty, I'd say. And if you just cast your eye over the screen, you'll see it is incredibly complicated. It's mainly just one thing being automated by this performer here, but there is a lot on it. So I think I'd better not close the patch and then go through it. I'll just take you through it. So oscillator 1 is Chrome, and you want it on bend minus plus for this. And you want the pitch on minus 12. Put your sort of wavetable position almost full, okay? Your intensity at just below halfway, and your amp at sort of 2/3, probably a bit less than that, but sort of at 1 o'clock. And second oscillator, you want crude, and also on bend minus plus. Put your wavetable position at about 1/3, pointing at the W, or at 10 o'clock if you want. Intensity, basically opposite side, 2/3, and the amp almost full. And then third, oh yeah, and that down minus 24. Third oscillator is deep throat, pitch minus 12. And you want this one on bend plus. Wavetable position all the way to the left. Intensity to the same as it was on crude, so 2/3, and same position as that on the amp. So what you'll see is we'll automate all them with this performer later. In fact, let's do it now. So on your performer, I don't know if you could see my curve there, but if you go load curve, it's this one here, and that's sort of the curve that flattens out as it gets to the top. So hopefully you can see that, and then it's just flat all the way until you get to the last one. Put it at restart, and don't bother syncing it, it's pretty free really. And put it just below, that's where I've got it. So that just gives you the movement there. Okay, once you've done that, assign that to basically every single little wheel on all of those operators. So oscillators then. So on the wavetable position on Chrome, you'll want to drag all the way up. And then on the intensity, you want to drag it sort of, well, there really, sort of 2/3. Ish, a bit further, and on the amp you'll just want to drag it up like a few notches, just, yeah, well you can see obviously. On the crude you want to go all the way up on the wavetable position, and all the way up on the intensity, and all the way up on the amp, so that's quite a simple one. On the deep throat you want to go to basically 180 degrees from where you started, so you get to about 1 o'clock, and intensity all the way up, and amp same as the first one, up a few notches, so it's about horizontal, if you can see what I'm talking about here. Okay, I suppose we're going to move on to the modulation oscillator, and this is a phase. Put it onto 3, which is the deep throat, and have 7 there, okay? And you want to drag that up to, trying to think where about, say about there, not exactly sure, but keep the pitch on 0. So yeah, start with it all the way down, assign your performer, and then drag it up to about just past 1/4. I did have some noise on it, which was the metallic one, but I turned it off because it just was annoying when you played high notes and it just sounded really weird, so I left it alone in the end. But the filters are quite important here. You'll want it on band pass. If I turn it off, it just kind of cuts out the beginning of the note and just sounds cooler with it. So cut off all the way down, band pass on about 9 o'clock, and resonance just below 9 o'clock. And then assign your performer to every single one of them, and your cut off drag it up to 2 o'clock, bandwidth to about 1 o'clock, and resonance to about 11 to 12, I'd say. Then you've got the same as me. Make sure it's on serial, whichever you want to say, and then put the mix down to sort of just below halfway, So this means it's mostly going through this one and a bit through that, not but through both, if you follow. And second filter, you want Scream, and on there you want the cut off at 3/4. So yeah, 3 o'clock. And you want to come to that moment. Scream halfway and resonance about 10 o'clock. And then get your performer again, put it onto the cutoff, drag it up all the way, and onto the Scream and drag up to about 2 o'clock, and then leave the resonance alone. So that should be your filters done. Hopefully I haven't missed anything here. Then onto your FX. FX1's nice and simple. You've got a classic tube, dry wet at halfway, and drive just below. FX2 is your dimension expander, where your dry wet's also at halfway, and size is about 9 o'clock. And then the EQ, it's one of these sort of mad things again. So put your high shelf down almost at the bottom, frequency to about 10 o'clock, boost to about 2.5 o'clock, if that makes any sense, but just the way you see it, and low shelf to 1 o'clock. And then get your performer and put it onto the low shelf, the frequency, and the high shelf, so everything apart from the boost. On the low shelf you want to drag up to 3 o'clock, the frequency up to 1 o'clock, and the high shelf up to 3. So that's just like, it's got a slight vowel sort of thing to it, but it sounds pretty cool, I'd say. So yeah, down to the insert. So insert 1 is your sine shaper, and you'll want your dry wet on 9 o'clock and your drive on 10 o'clock. Then again with your performer, you'll want to go onto both of them and dry wet up to halfway and your drive to almost all the way up. In fact, it's so close you might as well go all the way up, but yeah, I'll just leave it there. Insert 2 is an interesting one. It's the frequency shift. Just turn that off, and it gives you a sort of, I'd say Cenobite laser, because it was used in one of their songs a while ago, but xKore used it in his remix of that, whatever it was, the fast one, I'll say. You can see it sort of gets this sort of yeah, lasery thing, but it's the frequency shift that's doing that, and it's controlled by this first macro here. So I'll come to that in a moment, but first put on your frequency shift, dry wet 0, and double click to make sure the pitch is halfway, because if it's not halfway it just doesn't sound right when you leave it. So double click on that to set it halfway, and then first is your performer on the dry wet, and just drag up to it goes to halfway. On here it's just over, but it might as well just be halfway. Then with your macro 1, like I said I'd use, you put that onto there, and then you drag up the tiniest amount. So if you go too far, you'll get the laser, but as you go right up here, it just won't make any difference after that. So to get you more accuracy when you're altering it, just have a very small amount of that. And then you can just adjust to see how fast you want it. Unfortunately there's no way of beat syncing it, so you really do have just to go by, well, wherever sounds right really. So that should be all the basic stuff. Yeah, that's all the basic stuff. But the voicing's quite important on this one. Put your unisono to 5, your mono rotate there, and now this one I change it around. If you have it on always, what it does, it starts the sort of the performer every time you press another note, which in some cases is good. But if you want to slur notes and keep the keep the level of the performer the same, then you'll want to be able to slide between them. So that means switching to legato, or legato triller if you want to go. But always just resets it as soon as you play a note. So switch between them. I quite like having it on legato, but yeah, your choice depending on how you're using it. And the last thing I think I did was the oscillator thing, and all that's happening there is a bit of glide. So about there, I'd say. A restart thing. It doesn't drastically change the sound, it's just you can adjust things just a tiny bit and it changes it in small ways. So I can't really read out exact numbers here, but click your restart via gate thing. Put oscillator 1 to just past 180, 2 to just below 90, 3 to 270, a bit past, and the modulation oscillator just past 0. So I'll just copy it off the screen as you see it, and you should just muck around till you get close. And the last thing on here is the vibrato. I quite like it because as you're using it as a lead, if I do this, so you can sort of use it as a lead high up, and it sounds quite good. But leads always sound good with a bit of vibrato, so I've put some on. So first stick your rate at halfway and your depth all the way down. Then get that performer, the one we've used almost too much, and put it onto both of them, and drag your rate up to, well, about 5 notches past halfway, and about the same amount in depth, so it's about 1/4, 9 o'clock. And that, I think, is it. Just looking over to see what I've forgotten, because there's almost certainly something. You might want to check your routing/routing if you're American here. So insert 1 is after the filter 1, and insert 2 is as they join up. There, you just see which ones have been. Yeah, you can see. And nothing on the global, so yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you liked this, please do subscribe. I know it's risky making growl sounds because you either love them or you hate them. So if you didn't like this, sorry. But if you didn't like this, I don't know why you'll still be watching this video. Okay, anyway, goodbye. Thanks for watching.